What if I told you that one of the biggest reasons many people over 60 take longer to recover than they used to, longer to bounce back after illness, longer to calm soreness, longer to regain energy after stress, longer to repair after poor sleep, and longer to feel steady in their own body again, may come down to a mineral that is hiding in plain sight? Not a rare herb, not an expensive powder, not a miracle cure in a bottle, just magnesium. The same mineral your body depends on every day to regulate muscles, steady the heartbeat, support nerves, build energy, maintain bones, help control inflammation, and assist hundreds of internal repair processes that never stop working even while you sleep. And yet millions of older adults are not getting enough of it, not because magnesium-rich foods vanished from the planet, but because the foods that once supplied it naturally, seeds, beans, leafy greens, intact grains, mineral-rich vegetables, and traditional staples have slowly been pushed aside by processed meals, refined flour, sugar-heavy snacks, low-fiber convenience foods, and eating patterns that fill the stomach without truly rebuilding the body. That matters even more after 60. Because healing changes with age. A younger body can sometimes absorb poor habits and recover faster. But as the years go by, the margin gets smaller, sleep becomes lighter, muscles tighten more easily, bones need more support, stress lingers longer, digestion may weaken, medications can affect appetite or nutrient balance, and suddenly the body that used to rebound quickly now seems to take its time. A cut takes longer, a cold drains you more, a hard workout leaves soreness behind, a restless night affects you for 2 days instead of 1. A period of stress seems to settle into your muscles and nerves. Many people assume this is simply aging and nothing can be done. But that is not the full story, because while aging is real, undernourishment is real too. And one of the great nutritional mistakes of modern life is that we have separated calories from recovery. We eat enough to stay full, but not always enough to help the body repair itself well. Magnesium is deeply involved in that repair process. Your body uses it in energy production, in muscle relaxation, in protein synthesis, in nerve signaling, in blood sugar regulation, in sleep quality, in tissue maintenance, in how well your cells respond to stress. And when magnesium intake stays too low for too long, your body may not always sound an alarm. Often the signals are subtle at first, a little more fatigue than usual, muscle tightness that does not fully release, leg cramps at night, restless sleep, irritability that seems to come out of nowhere, weakness after exertion, a sense that recovery is slower than it should be, the strange feeling of being tired and tense at the same time. Here is what most people miss. It is not enough to ask which foods contain magnesium. You have to ask better questions. Which magnesium-rich foods can you actually eat consistently? Which foods come packaged with fiber, antioxidants, healthy fats, or protein that support healing too? Which ones are gentle enough for older digestion? Which ones were respected by traditional cultures long before nutrition labels existed? And which ones help your body recover, not only on paper, but in real life? That is why today I am sharing 20 magnesium-rich foods that can help your body heal faster after 60. This is not just a chart of milligrams. We are going deeper than that. We will look at why these foods mattered to older generations, how they support recovery, and the easiest ways to bring them back into your routine without turning eating into a full-time project. Stay with me, because number 7 is a leafy green once valued by laborers and soldiers who needed strength before anyone had words like electrolyte balance. Number 19 is a wild plant many people still rip out of their gardens without realizing it is one of the most underrated mineral foods around. And number 20 is a crop so tied to resilience and self-reliance that powerful people once tried to erase it. I'm Dr. Michael, and before we begin, a simple reminder. This is not medical advice, and no single food can replace proper treatment when you are facing a serious health issue. But food is the raw material your body uses to rebuild itself, and when those raw materials improve, the body often responds in ways people can feel. So let's begin. Number 1. Pumpkin seeds, the recovery seed hiding in plain sight. If there is one food that deserves far more respect in any conversation about magnesium, it is pumpkin seeds. A small handful contains an impressive amount of this mineral, yet many people still treat them as decoration, bird food, or something to throw away after carving pumpkins. That is a mistake older food cultures rarely made. They dried these seeds, roasted them, stored them, and ate them because they understood a simple truth. Small foods can carry enormous strength. Pumpkin seeds help because magnesium supports muscle relaxation, nerve calm, and steady energy production. That matters after 60, when the body often feels the cost of poor sleep, tension, or overexertion more sharply than before. Pumpkin seeds also pair well with protein and healthy fats, making them more than a supplement in disguise. They are compact nourishment. Sprinkle them over oatmeal, yogurt, soup, or salad. Or keep a small jar nearby and eat a modest handful daily. Think of pumpkin seeds as a tiny recovery reserve your body can draw from again and again. Number 2. Chia seeds, the ancient endurance food. Long before chia became fashionable, it was survival food. Indigenous communities valued it because it stored well, traveled well, and delivered lasting fuel. Tiny though it is, chia carries magnesium, fiber, healthy fats, and plant compounds that help the body hold steady instead of crashing. That matters for healing because recovery is not only about one injury or one illness, it is also about energy control. The body heals better when blood sugar is steadier, digestion is calmer, and inflammation is not constantly being stirred up by processed eating patterns. When chia absorbs liquid, it forms a gel that slows digestion and creates a more gradual release of energy. For many adults over 60, that can feel gentler than overly sweet breakfasts or snack foods that spike and drop. Stir chia into yogurt, oats, or a smoothie. Let it sit in water or milk for a simple pudding. Do not underestimate these little seeds. Chia is old endurance wisdom in modern form, and the body still knows what to do with it. Number 3. Almonds, the traveler's nourishment. Almonds have been carried across deserts, packed into travel bags, traded through markets, and prized for centuries because they solve a very old human problem. How do you carry lasting nourishment in a small space? The answer, quite often, was nuts. Almonds provide magnesium alongside vitamin E, healthy fats, and a satisfying texture that helps replace empty snacks with something the body can actually use. That combination is valuable for older adults because healing requires stability, stable energy, stable appetite, stable blood sugar, stable nourishment between meals. Too many people over 60 eat lightly all day, then wonder why recovery feels poor. A few crackers, sweet coffee, maybe toast, maybe soup, yet not enough mineral density anywhere. Almonds help correct that pattern in a practical way. Eat a small handful as a snack, add sliced almonds to vegetables, or stir them into oatmeal. If they digest better for you when soaked or softened, do that. Almonds are not flashy, they are dependable, and dependable foods are often the ones that quietly help the body rebuild. Number 4. Spinach, the green that rebuilds more than people realize. Spinach is so common that many people stop seeing it. It sits in bags, gets tossed into salads, and is often treated like a side note. But in reality, it is one of the simplest ways to raise mineral intake through ordinary meals. Cooked spinach gives you concentrated magnesium in a form that is easier to eat in meaningful amounts. A huge bowl of raw leaves may look healthy, but cooking shrinks spinach down and makes it far more practical. That matters because healing does not come from appearances. It comes from what the body can actually use. Spinach also works well in recovery because it fits into soups, eggs, lentils, stews, and side dishes. It supports the older body without asking for exotic recipes or expensive ingredients. Sauté it with olive oil and garlic. Fold it into eggs. Add it to bean soup. Make it part of the meal, not just garnish. Spinach is one of those foods modern life made ordinary, but older generations knew it as real nourishment. Number 5. Black beans, the strength that lasts. Some foods do more than feed a person. They help sustain entire communities. Black beans belong in that category. Across the Americas, beans were not backup food. They were foundational food. They nourished families, worked with the land, stored well, and delivered serious nutrition from humble ingredients. For healing after 60, Black beans matter for several reasons. They provide magnesium, yes, but they also bring fiber, plant protein, and slow-burning energy. Healing is harder when the body is running on unstable meals. Beans slow things down in the best possible way. They support the gut, create fullness, and help the body maintain steadier internal conditions. Soaking and cooking them well matters. Traditional cultures did not do that by accident. They learned through experience that proper preparation improves comfort and usefulness. Simmer black beans with onion, garlic, herbs, and quality salt. Eat them with vegetables, grains, or eggs. Think of black beans as steady repair food, the kind that does not rush, does not spike, and does not leave your body empty an hour later. Number 6, avocado, the soft food with serious power. Avocado is often reduced to trend food, but it has supported people for generations. Its softness makes it especially helpful for many older adults who need nourishment that feels easy to chew, easy to pare, and easy to digest. Avocado offers magnesium, potassium, fiber, and healthy fats, which makes it particularly useful for recovery. Why? Because healing is not only about one nutrient. Your body also needs the right internal environment. Healthy fats help absorption. Potassium and magnesium work together in muscle and nerve function. Fiber supports digestion, and digestion influences how well you use everything else you eat. Blosit end. There is also something deeply practical here. Avocado helps replace processed spreads, fried snacks, and empty fillers with something richer and calmer. Add it to eggs, mash it onto whole grain toast, slice it beside beans or fish, or mix it into salads. Avocado is gentle, satisfying, and quietly restorative, the sort of food that helps the body feel supported rather than burdened. Number 7. Swiss chard, the worker's green. Swiss chard looks beautiful, but it is not delicate food. It has the kind of sturdy character older societies respected. Farmers, laborers, and ordinary households valued greens like this because they help keep the body going through long days of physical demand. That is part of why chard deserves a place on this list. It provides magnesium, but it also carries the feel of honest food. Earthy, robust, and better when cooked with care, it reminds us that healing often comes from foods that ask us to slow down and prepare them properly. After 60, that matters. The body often needs more support with muscles, nerves, bowel regularity, and overall resilience. Chard fits well because it can be cooked until tender, paired with olive oil, and served in ways that feel substantial rather than flimsy. Sauté the stems first, then the leaves. Add garlic, onions, lemon, or broth. Put it beside beans, chicken, fish, or potatoes. Swiss chard is not a fashionable green. It is a strength green, and that may be exactly why it still deserves a place at the table. Number 8. Cashews, the calming mineral food. Cashews have a creaminess that makes them easier for many people to enjoy than harsher or drier nuts. That alone gives them value. The best healthy food is not always the one with the most impressive label. It is the one you will actually eat consistently. Cashews provide magnesium in a form that feels approachable. They also help replace the kind of processed afternoon snack that leaves the nervous system more agitated than nourished. Many people over 60 live with subtle overstimulation, poor sleep, too much caffeine, too many sugary bites, too much tension in the body, and not enough mineral support to soften it. Cashews can become part of a calmer pattern. A small handful, a blended sauce, or a simple addition to cooked vegetables can raise nourishment without effort. Do not overdo them. Traditional eating respected moderation, but used wisely, cashews are gentle support. They are not dramatic medicine. They are something better in many ways, food that helps the body exhale. Before we go further, if you enjoy content like this, subscribe and turn on notifications. Every week, Dr. Michael shares practical nutrition wisdom, older healing habits, and simple ways to support the body naturally after 60. Now, let's keep going, because the next 12 foods may change the way you see your own kitchen. Number 9. Quinoa, the rebuilding seed. Quinoa became popular for a reason, but long before modern wellness culture discovered it, highland communities relied on it because it could nourish people where other crops struggled. That matters. Foods that survive difficult conditions often become deeply tied to human survival. Quinoa provides magnesium and also brings complete plant protein, making it especially useful during periods of recovery. If your body is trying to repair tissue, regain strength, or rebuild after stress, that pairing matters. Magnesium helps the body use energy and participate in protein-related processes. Protein provides the building material. Rinse quinoa well and cook it gently. Use it instead of more refined starches that fill the plate but do not bring the same mineral value. Mix it with vegetables, broth, beans, or soft herbs. Quinoa is not just another grain substitute. It is a rebuilding food, one that quietly says nourishment should be strong enough to help you recover, not merely hold you over. Number 10. Edamame, the green pod of steady repair. Edamame reflects a kind of food wisdom many modern diets have lost. It is simple, lightly cooked, close to its natural form, easy to portion, hard to overprocess, and because of that, it often works better than more manufactured protein snacks pretending to be healthy. Edamame provides magnesium, fiber, and complete plant protein. That combination is excellent for recovery, especially when older adults need food that is satisfying without being excessively heavy. The pods also slow you down. You eat them one by one. That is not a small thing. Slower eating often improves awareness, satisfaction, and comfort. Steam them, salt them lightly, and eat them warm, or add the shelled beans to soups, stir-fries, or grain bowls. Edamame is one of those foods that proves real nourishment does not need to be complicated. It only needs to stay close enough to nature for the body to recognize it. Number 11. Lentils, the humble repair builders. Lentils rarely get glamorous treatment, but they deserve deep respect. Across cultures, they have fed households for centuries because they are affordable, practical, and profoundly useful. For someone over 60, lentils are a gift. They bring magnesium, iron, fiber, and plant protein in one accessible package. They are soft when cooked, easy to flavor, and gentle enough to fit into many meals without strain. Recovery often improves when the body is consistently fed rather than occasionally treated to something healthy. That is the brilliance of lentils. They are regular food, not weekend food, not health kick food, real food for ordinary life. Shopping to cupping over. Cook them into soup, stew them with vegetables, or serve them beside roasted roots and greens. Lentils remind us that healing does not always begin with rare ingredients. Sometimes it begins with a pot simmering slowly on the stove. Number 12. Potatoes with the skin on, the food we keep weakening. The potato has been blamed for far too much, but in truth, the whole potato is not the problem. The problem is what modern habits do to it. Peel it, deep fry it, drown it in cheap oils, turn it into chips, and then act surprised when the result does not support health. A potato with its skin intact is something else entirely. It provides magnesium, potassium, vitamin C, and useful carbohydrates the body can actually put to work, especially when recovering from weakness, stress, or poor appetite. For many older adults, potatoes are also easy to digest and comforting. That matters. Healing foods must be realistic foods. Bake them whole, roast them with olive oil, or cool them and use them in salad. Keep the skin whenever possible, because that is where much of the value remains. The potato is not junk by nature. It only becomes junk when industry strips away its dignity. Number 13. Oats, the breakfast that stays with you. Oats have nourished generations because they are dependable. Warm, soft, affordable, and satisfying, they are one of the most practical ways to build a better morning meal, especially for adults over 60. Oats offer magnesium and fiber in a form that feels steady rather than stimulating. A better breakfast often means a better day of recovery. When the first meal is mostly sugar, refined flour, or nothing at all, the body spends hours playing catch-up. But when the day begins with real nourishment, healing processes are less likely to compete with blood sugar chaos and cravings. Cook oats slowly if you can. Add chia, ground flax, berries, pumpkin seeds, or almond butter. That one bowl can become a recovery meal instead of just a habit. Oats are not exciting in the modern marketing sense, but that is part of their power. They endure because bodies keep responding well to them. It has its own strengths. Good tofu offers magnesium, protein, and a soft texture that many older adults appreciate. During periods of reduced appetite, dental difficulty, or recovery from illness, texture matters. Easy-to-chew nourishment can be the difference between eating well and not eating enough. Tofu also takes flavor beautifully. It can live in soups, broths, stir-fries, and gentle meals that support, rather than overwhelm, the digestive system. That makes it useful for healing because the best recovery foods are often the ones the body accepts willingly. Use firm tofu in savory dishes or softer tofu in soups. Season it well. Pair it with greens, mushrooms, ginger, or sesame. Tofu is not loud food. It is cooperative food, and the healing body often benefits from that kind of quiet partnership. Number 15. Bananas, the gentle recovery fruit. Bananas are easy to underestimate because they are familiar, but familiarity should not blind us to usefulness. A banana offers magnesium, potassium, vitamin B6, and simple energy in a form many people can tolerate even when appetite is low. That makes bananas valuable after illness, after poor sleep, after digestive upset, or during periods when the body simply feels depleted. Recovery is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is the ability to eat something gentle, hold on to it, and start rebuilding from there. Pair a banana with nuts or yogurt for more staying power. Slice it into oats. Blend it into a smoothie if chewing feels difficult. A banana is not a miracle. It is something better, one of the oldest forms of practical first aid food. Number 16. Sesame seeds and tahini, the old world mineral paste. Sesame has nourished people for thousands of years. Tiny seeds again, enormous payoff. When ground into tahini, sesame becomes even easier to use regularly, which is important because consistency beats intensity when it comes to long-term nourishment. Sesame offers magnesium, along with healthy fats and a rich flavor that can upgrade otherwise weak meals. Drizzle tahini over cooked vegetables, stir it into dressings, or spread a little into grain bowls and bean dishes. Suddenly a plain meal becomes a much more restorative one. For adults over 60, this matters because one of the easiest ways to improve healing is not by finding extraordinary foods, but by enriching ordinary meals with small, mineral-dense additions. Sesame does exactly that. It is ancient kitchen intelligence, still available to anyone willing to use it. Number 17. Blackberries, the hedge medicine. Blackberries may not carry the highest magnesium numbers on this list, but numbers alone do not tell the full story. Blackberries bring antioxidants that help the body handle oxidative stress, and oxidative stress can make healing harder. That is why they matter. Recovery supportive food is not only one that supplies a mineral directly, it is also one that creates a better environment for that mineral to do its job. Blackberries offer color, fiber, and deep plant compounds that older bodies can benefit from, especially when inflammation and cellular wear are already part of the picture. Eat them fresh or frozen. Add them to oats, yogurt, or simple desserts without drowning them in sugar. Blackberries are a reminder that healing food can still taste like pleasure. Number 18. Acorn squash, the winter comfort that rebuilds. Winter squash carried people through cold months long before modern shipping made all foods available all year. It stored well, cooked beautifully, and delivered steady nourishment when fresh abundance had faded. Acorn squash provides magnesium, fiber, and slow-release carbohydrates in a warming form that makes it especially good for recovery meals. Many adults over 60 do better with foods that are soft, warm, grounding, and easy on the system. Healing is difficult when every meal feels cold, rushed, or nutritionally thin. Roast acorn squash until tender. Add olive oil, herbs, or a little cinnamon depending on the dish. Serve it beside protein, beans, or greens. Acorn squash is seasonal wisdom you can still put on a plate. It reminds us that some of the best healing foods were designed by necessity, not trend. Number 19. Purslane, the weed people keep throwing away. This may be the most overlooked food on the list. Purslane grows low to the ground, appears in cracks, gardens, and disturbed soil, and is often pulled out before anyone asks what it is. But many traditional food cultures knew better. Purslane contains magnesium and is unusually rich in plant omega-3 fats for a leafy green. It also offers a bright, slightly tangy taste that wakes up simple dishes. There is something powerful about that. A plant dismissed as a weed turns out to be exactly the kind of mineral-rich food modern people claim they cannot find. That says a lot about how we have been trained to see food. If you know how to identify it properly and safely, use it in salads, soups, or quick sautés. If you do not, learn first and be careful. Purslane is not just a plant, it is a lesson. Sometimes the foods trying hardest to nourish us are the ones modern life taught us to ignore. Number 20. Amaranth leaves, the resilient food that refuse to disappear. Amaranth is one of the most extraordinary plants in food history. Its leaves provide magnesium and other minerals, while its seeds offer additional nourishment in their own right. But the deeper reason it belongs here is what it represents. In multiple parts of the world, amaranth was tied to identity, strength, continuity, and food independence. And whenever a crop becomes that important to a people, it becomes more than food. It becomes power. That is why it survived suppression. That is why it endured. For the body over 60, amaranth leaves are valuable because they deliver real nourishment in a form similar to other cooked greens, but with a story far bigger than a side dish. Sauté the young leaves with garlic and oil, add them to soups or stews, use the seeds as porridge if you like. Amaranth reminds us that healing is never only biological, it is also cultural. A people who remember how to feed themselves well are harder to weaken. So there they are, 20 magnesium-rich foods that can help your body heal faster after 60. Pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, almonds, spinach, black beans, avocado, Swiss chard, cashews, quinoa, edamame, lentils, potatoes with the skin on, oats, tofu, bananas, sesame, blackberries, acorn squash, purslane, and amaranth. Some are common, some are ancient, some are soft and comforting. Some are wild and overlooked. Some helped build civilizations. Some survived because ordinary people refused to let them disappear. But they all point back to one central truth. Healing slows down when nourishment grows weak. And in the modern world, that happens easily. We snack more, but rebuild less. We eat more often, but receive fewer minerals. We choose foods engineered for speed, taste, and shelf life, then wonder why the body feels underpowered. We remove skins, discard seeds, avoid beans, neglect greens, and replace deeply nourishing staples with things that barely ask anything of the soil and offer very little in return. Then one day we wake up and call it aging. Sometimes it is aging, but sometimes it is also absence. The absence of seeds, the absence of greens, the absence of slow meals, the absence of mineral-rich staples, the absence of the humble traditional foods that supported muscles, nerves, sleep, energy, digestion, and repair long before modern labels turned health into marketing. That is the good news, because what is absent can be returned. You do not need to change everything overnight. Start small, add pumpkin seeds to breakfast, cook spinach with dinner, simmer a pot of lentils, keep the skin on the potato, use tahini instead of a processed sauce, roast squash when the weather cools, bring beans back to the table, try quinoa instead of a more refined grain, keep blackberries in the freezer, learn the names of the plants growing around you before you dismiss them. This is not about perfection. It is not about fear. It is not about believing one mineral solves every problem. It is about remembering that the body heals best when it is fed in a way that makes healing possible. When magnesium is present consistently, when meals come with fiber and color and real substance, when food arrives close to its natural form, many people notice meaningful shifts, better sleep, less tightness, more stable energy, fewer cravings, a calmer nervous system, a body that feels a little more cooperative and a little less burdened. That is not magic. That is nourishment finally being given a chance to work. So the next time you see pumpkin seeds, do not only see a snack, see a repair food. The next time you cook beans, do not call them poor man's food, call them foundational food. The next time you leave the skin on a potato, recognize that as nutritional wisdom, not laziness. The next time you walk past dark greens in the market, remember they were once serious food, not